Welcome to the show. Last week, the United States launched 59 Tomahawk missiles at the Syrian airbase in response to the Syrian government's chemical attack on its own people 2 days before. Henry, what do you think about this whole process that we've gone through?
Well, I think one of the things to discuss is, should President Trump have sought congressional approval? I think that might have marred the success of this strike actually taking place. And it's going to be an interesting dynamic on where we're headed in global politics, one with our relationship with Russia, which I think is on a sour note right now, and two, our relationship with what's going on in the Middle East and the UN. So we have a lot of challenges. I think it was the right thing to do, the fact that it was a retaliation for the use of nerve agents on children and their own people. I think that's is the U.S. supposed to be the world's police force? And are we going to find ourselves into another Iraq situation?
Jim, what do you think? Is that the pledge that we're supposed to get away from, not be the policeman of the world? What do you think's changed?
Well, I don't know that. I think there's a difference between responding to an attack on innocent children and people in Syria. I think that we have issues with the Syrian government that have been for far too long ignored. And I don't think this was the right move, but I'm going to go the other way. I don't think he should have fired 59 missiles. I think he should have fired 159. I think that this was an appropriate response. I would have probably gone, truly, maybe not 159, but I would have probably gone heavier, because it looked to me from the pictures like some of those buildings were still standing, and that's untenable in my opinion. But I think that aside from it being a proper response, I also think it sends a message to the world that there's a new sheriff in town. And I think for a long time, we have been the laughingstock because we draw red lines and then we don't do anything when you cross them. Whether you're Iraq or Iran, or, well, not Iraq, but whether you're Iran or Syria or Russia or others.
Henry, Vladimir Putin said, Mr. Putin said it wasn't Syria. It was other people in the country. How do we know for sure that the Syrians did it or somebody else didn't do it to blame the Syrians?
Because President Trump has 100% confidence in our national intelligence.
He did it a couple months ago.
He's done a 180 apparently.
Oh, he did a 180.
Yeah, must have done a 180.
Okay,
that's the only way I can figure it.
Yeah.
Because, honestly, the first thing that came to my mind is we've had less than 48 hours, but you've already determined it was not ISIS, it was not someone else in there that had the potential and has access to the same type of weaponry to do something like this. It could have been captured on the battlefield. So I think it was more of a chess game where Jim was alluding to. I think we're in a chess match currently with Russia. We're moving pieces around for the axis of evil, to resurrect an old term, okay? Syria sort of slid into the Iraq vein in this situation. So we have Syria, Iran, and North Korea. I think we're starting to move some chess pieces around to let the world know that in the absence of leadership, that America is going to step up to the plate.
Good. Now, I'm going to frame this in the form of a question to you. Had the Chinese gentlemen not have been at Mar-a-Lago, would those missiles have been sent? Was that missiles in effect for Putin and Russia and Syria? Or was it for the head of China to let him know what we may do to North Korea? Put it all together.
I think there can be multiple conspiracy theories. I don't think anyone...
That's not a conspiracy.
It's a conspiracy theory to the extent that if you say that we fired these post hoc ergo propter hoc, following this therefore because of this. The Chinese president was meeting with Trump in Florida, therefore we fired the missiles. That's a conspiracy theory.
And we're not going to stir the Chinese up because it's not one of their close allies.
You know,
But when the
but there's
Japanese,
going
when
to
we
be
were meeting with the gentleman from Japan,
I
North
understand
Korea shot off a missile. Is this all interacting?
You know, who knows? I don't know, but I'm telling you, there will be conspiracy theories. There will be spin on this. I heard a news report. Well, I won't stretch to call it a news report. I heard someone on a news show suggest that that Vladimir Putin arranged for that chemical reaction so the United States could fire missiles, and so then Vladimir could say, look at the bad thing the Americans did, to start questioning the relationship between Donald Trump and, as they quoted, his buddy in Russia.
So that's the president
Well,
has said.
I heard a little more spin on
Okay,
that.
well, this is going to be interesting.
Okay, and not only did Putin arrange for it, but it was actually for the opposite effect. The opposite effect, whereas we have now built the mechanism of Russia-U.S. going back to the Cold War era. However, because Putin and Trump are such close friends, this allows Trump to stand up in the management of the opposite side and control the growth. And they can work together on having two superpowers again.
Okay, now follow up with that.
Well, who knows what's true?
Was Putin told an hour or 2 hours before the bombing that the bombs were coming? Yes or no?
We were told that.
We were told that. Now, why? I thought we didn't telegraph anything that we were going to do in our arsenal. I thought that was one of our strategic plans going forward. We would not telegraph what we were going to do. So we call. You think that the Syrians weren't informed that their runway was going to be bombed?
We don't know that, but what we do know, and again, nobody knows what is in the hearts and minds of those that were making the decision. But what we do know as a country is that we know that Russia has been involved and has been flying in their airspace and using their airports and assets. So from my perspective, that was a heads up to them. That's different than going out on CNN and MSNBC, as our former president did, and announcing 3 weeks in advance what we're going to do.
Well, that's a good talking point. That's good dog whistle politics. Now back to where we are. Back to where we are. We talk about this red line in the sand.
Yep.
At what point does that red line? When do we go to Congress to go forward with whatever we do? Do you think we should?
I think President Trump has the obligation by the Constitution, if we are going to initiate any more attacks on a sovereign nation, that he should be going to Congress for that. I mean, this was a reaction, and people are saying, well, Russia's question, well, we had these plans drawn up in advance to do this. Well, of course we did. We have plans drawn up on how to invade Canada. Do we think we're going to need them? No. But we have plans, contingency plans, and you're aware of that, that there are plans on how to protect the sovereignty of our nation. And how to, in this case, I'm sure these plans were drawn up under President Obama, and President Trump just rubber stamped them for a go. If we're going to, Lord have mercy if we're looking at putting any boots on the ground, because I'm not in favor of boots on the ground.
We got boots on the ground now. There's 1,000 troops in Syria.
A significant presence.
Okay, but we got a significant. 1,000's a lot more than none.
Yes, that's true, but it's not as much as the amount of losses we had in Iraq.
Yeah.
Let's hope we don't go down that road.
Now, I happen to agree with Henry. I think the strike was called for.
I do too.
And I think
So you agree with Henry, but not with me?
Well, I thought you said you didn't think we...
He wanted more.
You wanted more. Oh,
He
you
wanted more.
I think the way we're going is probably a wake-up call for a lot of people. And I think we've got to get past talking about what happened 3 years ago in 2013 and start dealing with what's going to happen in 2017 to stop the problem over there.
Well,
so how do we do that?
I think we did that. I think that.
So now we move forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you in favor of a regime change?
I am, but I'm not in favor of us causing a regime change.
Why not?
Because of the vacuum that we've created when
Yeah,
it occurred in Libya and even Iraq.
We have great experience recently, and if we didn't, Russia should, about trying to do regime changes in the Middle East, and it's never worked out well.
So what are we going to do? Why we even bomb them then?
You know, I don't have all the intelligence.
I remember how we've talked about, we took Gaddafi out, what went in? We took Saddam Hussein out, who went in? ISIS.
I really
ISIS.
think that this bombing was a pawn in a much larger chess game. Okay, we were given a reason or a justification of launching an attack, but what that did was effectively get our allies to rally around us and show that the U.S. is ready to take the lead back again. And it also put some of those that desire negative things to happen in this country, put them on notice that irrespective of state sovereignty, if you do something that is wrong by a humanity sense, we're going to step up.
And
now, my question is,
there's a step between complete regime change and doing nothing. And somewhere in between is where I would like it to see us be. I would like to see us be in a position where if this guy does something idiotic like use chemical warfare against his own people, yeah, I want to make it hurt bad. But that doesn't mean we kick him out, that we as the United States kick him out of power.
but let's think what happened with Gaddafi. Reagan sent in bombers back in, I believe it was 86, 87.
Yes.
Okay, he sent in bombers. For the most part, Libya's presence on the world stage was significantly diminished after that point. So even if it's to make Assad's presence on the world stage minimalized, it would be a success.
You got to think, if you're that guy, Assad, that you're going to think long and hard before you do this again.
Well, hopefully, as we go forward, we don't go forward on emotions, but we go forward on some type of a game plan in order to have regime change, if that's what we want, and that we do keep our presence in the world. And I'm glad to see that the president had a great military there at his beck and call to make that shot that he needed to make.
And it's going to be greater after
Up
these
next,
budget
our
changes.
panel takes a closer look at internet privacy. We're back in 3 minutes.